Hey, everybody. Welcome to Girl Talk with Virginia, where we are empowering professional women every day. How has everyone been doing? Today's episode is all about relationship. If you watched yesterday's episode, I already gave you a precursor to tell you about what today's episode is. Trying to see how I can get onto this thing. Give me 1 second. Okay, so once again, today's Girl Talk with Virginia is about relationships. So you can know when to fold them and when to hold them. And how can you make your relationships last forever? Relationships are a key component in helping you prosper under pressure because you need that part of the community. That's one part of your community and one part of your support system to help you level up because you need support systems. You need prosperous support systems. You need positive support systems to help you get to your next level. And let me give you some clarification. There are several types of relationships, not just intimate relationships. There's family relationships, there are friends, there are co-workers. There are several different types of relationships that you need to know how to address certain issues so that your relationship can skyrocket. So that's what we're doing today on Girl Talk with Virginia. So excited to be here with you today. Remember, tomorrow is Friday. Therefore, we're going to have a Q&A session with Girl Talk with Virginia. So be sure to submit your questions to prosperunderpressure@gmail.com or comment to the post if you're on Facebook Live or if you are connected with me on Instagram or if you're connected through YouTube. You can direct message me if you don't want everybody to know your business. So direct message me your questions so that they can be answered on tomorrow's show because we're all about empowering people, and you cannot be empowered if you have questions and you need clarifications on issues about life and you don't get those questions answered. So that's what I'm here for. And I want to make sure you have everything you need so that you can level up. Right? That's what we're about, leveling up. So get those questions in. So let's dive into how you can know if you need to fold or hold on to those relationships. These are going to be the 3 C's to make your relationships skyrocket, right? Don't you want to hear this? So you got to tune in to the end to get that 3rd C so that you can know how to make those relationships the way you want to make them to be beneficial to help you get to your next level of success. So, key number one, communication. Do you feel like you're not connected to other people or the other person, that other relevant person in your life, that other relationship in your life? Well, guess what? You might want to tune up your communication skills. People think that communication is only about talking. There's way more to communication if you want to be on the same page with a person than just talking. Guess what? You have to actively listen. Actively listening means you're asking that person additional questions about what they're saying, what they're feeling. So say, for example, you're talking to somebody about, I feel like I don't like the way you approach a certain situation, just to give a broad example. If you don't understand what that person is really saying about that type of situation, you have to probe for additional information so you can get a clear understanding of what they're trying to say. And that's active listening. You can say, okay, I understand what you're saying, but are you saying that X, Y, and Z? And then be like, no, or yes, I am saying X, Y, and Z. This is what I'm trying to tell you. So you have to actively listen by having probing questions and making sure you're getting a clear understanding of what that person is trying to tell you. Also, when it comes to communication, you have to plan times to discuss whatever it is you want to put on the table. You can't just catch people off guard. And I tell my clients this all the time because that is the number one problem. They're like, okay, well, they don't want to talk to me. I try to hold conversations and they just brush me off all the time. It's not that they're brushing you off. Let me tell you what the problem is. The problem is you catch them off guard when they haven't had time to think about whatever it is you want to discuss. So you have to plan times to have discussions. I tell a lot of my clients, sometimes couples counseling is that you have to have regular family powwow times, or whatever you want to call it, family discussions, state of the relationship type of discussions. But those things have to be planned, and they have to be regular parts of your relationship. You just can't catch people off guard and thinking that they're supposed to stop and then talk about whatever it is you want to talk about at that moment. Those things have to be planned. So communication, you have to plan a time to talk, and you have to actively listen by probing that other person for clarity to understand what they're feeling, what they're thinking, and what they are going through. Sounds like a good deal? But that's only key number one to a skyrocketing relationship. This is key number two. Good relationships require give and take. You have to give and take, which is key number two. You have to know how to compromise. That is very important. Let me tell you why. Because when you are in a relationship and there's an issue on the table and you're trying to come up with solutions to your issues, and then one person gets everything and the other person is walking away with nothing on the table, guess what it's going to cause? It's going to cause resentments in your relationships. But this is how you have to handle compromise, and when you have an issue that you don't see eye to eye on. So one person have to give and take, and the other person also has to give and take. That means if we're discussing an issue, that means I get some of what I want in the issue, but I have to give up something too. I have to make some sacrifices. So that's how you deal with compromising in relationships. Because guess what? You will not have the same viewpoints, and you will not have the same idea of how to have a solution. But the master plan is that you have to give and take. The other person has to give and take, because you're not supposed to be thinking that you should have the same viewpoints on anything, because you're different people. Especially if you're in relationships where you grew up in different households and you have different values and different beliefs, then of course we're not going to have the same solutions and the same viewpoints on an issue. But it requires compromise. That's key number two. Guess what? We have another key to get into. Aren't you eager for key number three to help your relationship skyrocket? Here we go. You ready? So your relationship should mean the world to you, right? Especially if you're in the relationship already, that means it's valuable, which means, guess what? You have to cherish it for a lifetime. But it's not easy. You just don't wake up in the morning, roll out of the bed, and then everything is going to be perfect and, easy peasy. No, you have to work on it. Therefore, you have to cherish your relationships. You're going to have ups and downs. It's going to be good and bad. But you know what you have to do? A key to cherishing your relationship is that you have to respect your differences. Respect is the key word in cherishing your relationships. You have to respect differences, and you have to respect each other's growth. Because if you don't, then you're going to pull apart, because you're not cherishing that other person's life. You're not cherishing the way that other person views life. You're not cherishing the way that other person thinks about life. You're not cherishing the way they have values and morals and everything. But when you're in long-term relationships, people grow and develop over time, because you have different impressions. You've been around different people. You did some professional development. You did personal development. So guess what? You should not be at the same level you were last week. You shouldn't be at the same level you were last month, because you should be continuously growing and changing and having better viewpoints and better ideas about life. But guess what? The other side of the relationship, the other person that's in the relationship, if you want that relationship to skyrocket, that's the key word. We want it to skyrocket. You have to cherish that other person's differences and that other person's growth. That was a lot. These are valuable keys to help your relationship skyrocket. These are valuable keys to let you know if you need to hold on to the relationship or if you need to let that relationship go because it's folded and it's out of there. And there's no sense in trying to make a relationship work if both people aren't willing to communicate effectively, if both people are not willing to compromise, and if both people don't know that they have to cherish the relationship. So let's go back to the coworker that I gave the example of at the beginning of the show, Girl Talk with Virginia. Today's show, hey, was powerful because I know that this information is going to help you to have your relationship on that next level. But let's think back to that coworker that we talked about earlier, where you having these conflicting views and you're going head to head on certain issues and you can't come up with a solution that's good for the growth of the relationship. So think about the communication in a relationship where you don't see eye to eye. Do you really understand what that person is talking about? Did you ask them extra questions for clarity, or did you just run off of your assumptions of what you think that person is trying to say? Did you plan a time to sit down? Because you can't just throw people, all of a sudden you want to talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about without giving that other person time to get their thoughts together about whatever the issue is. Are you compromising? Are you and the coworker compromising? If y'all have an issue at work, think about it. What do we need to give and take to help this whole relationship or help this project, whatever you're working on that you're conflicting about, to help this grow, to benefit both of us, not just one side of the party, because the other side, if they have to give up everything and the other person is giving everything that they want out of the relationship or the co-worker issue, then guess what? Somebody's going to walk away with some resentments, and that is not going to be good for the whole relationship, because it's not going to make your idea, your thoughts, your projects, whatever you're working on with your coworker prosper, which is what the point is of the whole communication thing in relationship, is that we need to work together to make things prosper, to have success. And if we're both not on the same page and one person is resenting because they don't know how to compromise, then you're going to have some resentments. And then the third key in this co-worker relationship, you need to cherish each other's differences. You need to cherish each other's growth, because both party in the co-worker relationship have different education, they have different viewpoints, but you have to respect that other person's differences and that other person's growth. It's about respect when it comes to relationships. So I hope I know this information has been very valuable for you today, because you're going to go out and use these 3 keys to make your relationships skyrocket and to be more prosperous in your relationships. But just think about it. When you have relationships that prosper and relationships that skyrocket, it's not just the other person that's benefiting from the prosperity of a relationship. Both parties should be benefiting from the prosperity and the growth of your relationships. I expect that tomorrow I'm going to have at least 5 questions for tomorrow's show, which is Girl Talk with Virginia, the Q&A session every Friday. And guess what? Tomorrow will be our 30-day anniversary. We are still in the 40 days marathon. Tomorrow will be day 30, which means we have 10 days together to continue growing in this marathon. But remember, Girl Talk with Virginia, the regular episode is on Mondays at 1:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. I have enjoyed these past 30 days. Once again, we have 10 days left to get those questions answered and to help you continue to be prosperous. You can always hit me up in my DM. I understand if you don't want people in your business to know what kind of questions you have going on. But once again, I want to make sure you get to your next level and level up. That's what this Girl Talk with Virginia is about on our regular broadcast. I want to see you there the rest of these 10 days. If not, hey, go back and watch the replay. Go back and go to the YouTube channel, subscribe so you don't miss an alert about when a Girl Talk with Virginia has aired, or any other video trainings that may be in the YouTube channel. Because guess what? I want you to be bold. I want you to be blessed. And I want you to, most of all, be a believer that you could do anything you put your mind to when it comes to leveling up. because Girl Talk with Virginia and Prosper Under Pressure is here to empower you to be your best and to level up. I love you. I'm here for you. This community, Prosper Under Pressure, wants to make sure you always have everything that you need to be sufficient and to be prosperous so that you can get to your next level of success. And once again, my experiences tell me that you will be submitting one question for tomorrow so that we can have a total of 5 questions. We almost at the end point of this 40 days marathon. Be bold, be blessed, be a believer. It's been a blessing to be amongst y'all. Remember, this is all about empowering you to get into your next level of success. See you tomorrow for the Q&A. I'm excited. Bye.